Hi, I am Deanne Hislop and I welcome you to video 1 of our 10-part EMF educational series. This video is dedicated to routers, to helping you better understand what you need to look for in a router so that you can create a low EMF home. Now, the first thing we need to establish is this router a smart router or not? Generally, it will say it on the router if it is. Most Telstra routers are smart routers, but you can always double check with your service provider as to whether it is or not. The issue with smart routers or smart modems is that they also utilize the cellular network. So while we can disable the wireless function on them, they will often still emit because they're searching for that connection with a phone tower, for example. So if it is a smart modem, there are several things that you can do. You can request to your service provider that they provide you with a non-smart modem. Some will be able to do that, some won't. You could bring another modem that you purchase to that. So you could go out and buy a modem that fits the criteria that we're going to discuss and then plug that in and use that. Or you may choose to cancel your service provider and go with a service provider that's going to give you a router that does not use cellular network. I have iiNet at home and I have Aussie Broadband at work. Both of those are able to provide me with routers that are non-smart routers. And they also come with ports for a phone line, which I'm going to discuss more in depth in another video, but is really important. One of the issues with the Telstra smart modems is that if you bring your own router to that, you'll still be able to get your internet connection fine and without any sort of adjustments. However, because they do encrypt their phone lines, it means that you won't be able to cord a phone back to another router, which is an issue pretty much specific to Telstra. And I've had many clients who have been able to cancel their contract with them for that reason, that the provider isn't able to give them a modem that doesn't emit, that they can stop emitting, and that they can still have a phone line as well. Now, once you get your non-smart modem, we need to look at a couple of things. Now, is there a button that you can easily use to turn the wireless or the Wi-Fi on and off on it? Because that's a really easy and quick way to disable the Wi-Fi. Many of them don't these days. It tends to be more the older models that have that function. And if it does have that function, then you also need to check that it doesn't turn itself back on, which some of them do. Alternatively, what you can do is you can log into that router so that you can disable the Wi-Fi remotely. Remotely being on your computer or the device that you've got it plugged into or synced to. So for example, I'm going to show you this router here. This is through iiNet. This is TP-Link. I'm just going to show you at the bottom there where it's got, you can see, I'm just hoping you can see there clearly enough that it's actually got like a login detail to that, which means that you can log into that and then you can go into the settings, you can click onto the wireless settings and you can disable the wireless on there. Many of your routers will be what we call dual band. So they'll have generally a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band in them. So you will need to go into both the 2.4 and the 5 and turn those off or disable those. You'll also be able to tell when you've done that effectively because they'll all have a set of lights across them. Now, you'll be able to see, I'm hoping you can see, that there's a 2.4 and a 5 gigahertz on there. So when those lights are off, obviously that's now been disabled. And that's something that you need to check, especially if you don't have a meter. So you need to keep an eye on the router itself to make sure that those things have been turned off. If you're struggling to log into your router, then I suggest you call your service provider, and they can either log in remotely for you or they can step you through bit by bit how to do it. For families that have a lot of users, and there are some things that can be hard to hardwire or you might need Wi-Fi for, such as downloading a video every now and then off Apple TV, or you know, maybe once a month or something, you want to use your Sonos speakers that you had, or you want to do a download on your phone and you don't want to hardwire that. And we will be discussing hardwiring of phones in another video. Then, you know, you want to keep the login sort of on your browser or somewhere that you can easily access if you don't remember it, perhaps in the favorites in your computer, so that you can just easily access that and switch that on and switch that off when you feel like it. And that tends to be the easiest solutions for most families. Now, with your router, a lot of people are concerned that once they've turned the wireless off, they need to keep it away from the body as much as they can. This isn't true. Once you've disabled the wireless and you've not got a smart router, you know, a meter or so away from the body is fine. I've seen a lot of people try and put routers in roofs and things like that so that it's away. That's not necessary when you're turning the Wi-Fi off, and makes it very difficult to use the back end of it for hardwiring as well. Now, one more thing that I like to consider when looking at a router, and you can go, if you are going to bring another router or purchase an additional router because the one that you've got isn't what you're looking for, then I like to make sure that you've got the option to have a phone on there. So you'll notice on the back of the router that there's ports for your Ethernet, and then there's also phone line ports. When we discuss landlines, I'm going to go through as to why I absolutely love landlines, and I think they're really important to have, mainly so that you can turn your phone onto flight mode and that your loved ones and people that you care about are still able to contact you, say in the middle of the night. It's not the other thing, you know, you can make calls and for business and things like that, especially if you're having calls that are sort of go for a long duration as well, then it's nice to be able to use a corded landline for that purpose. So that's kind of routers in a nutshell. Just to recap, we want to have a non-smart router. If you're unsure if yours is or isn't, then you need to contact your service provider. If it is a smart router, we don't want that one. So you need to either consider, can they change it over for me? Do I need to purchase one independently and bring that and use that with my current service provider? Or do I need to switch service providers? When you're looking for a router, you want to make sure that you can easily turn the Wi-Fi off, which you can on just about every non-smart router. And I suggest getting one that also has a phone port in there, so that later on, if you choose to put in a phone line or a corded phone line, or whether you're already using one, that you've got that application available to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Any questions, please feel free to put them on the Facebook page. For those who have subscribed, you'll get some further information on the routers in your email. And these videos can also be accessed on the buildingbiologywa.com.au website under videos, that you can share for free with yourself, loved ones, and whoever you like. So thank you, feel empowered, and I want to see you take action to better your health. Thank you.